Hello, coaches! Welcome back to another episode of Coach Better Spotlight. Today, I'm chatting with Margaret Powers, Director of STEAM Innovation in an independent school outside of Philadelphia. In today's Spotlight episode, Margaret shares the history and structure of the Legacy Through Leadership program that the innovation team designed to build capacity through peer coaching and mentoring. This episode is just an introduction to the Legacy Through Leadership program. Catch the full-length episode to hear all the details about how the program has developed over the years and what recommendations Margaret has for coaches looking to design something similar. In addition to more about the Legacy Through Leadership program, the full-length audio podcast also highlights the distributed leadership model of coaching that Margaret and her team practice to meet the needs of the entire school community. If you are looking for sustainable models to engage teachers in professional growth that create lasting change in an organization, this episode is for you. To hear that full episode, subscribe to Coach Better wherever you get your podcasts. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Coach Better. Today, I am super excited to be joined by Margaret Powers, Director of STEAM Innovation at an independent school outside of Philadelphia. Margaret, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
I am super excited to chat with you because the last time we spoke was, I think we were talking before, like maybe 5 years ago. It was in person. We were doing some work with Eduro. And I haven't talked to you since then, so I'm super excited to be back in touch and have a conversation with you about the work that you're doing now. To help others who don't know you yet, can you tell us a little bit about your background in education, how you got to where you are, what your history is as an educator?
Sure, yeah. So my background is kind of varied in that I have a passion for early childhood education. So I have background there and actually had studied and lived in Reggio Emilia, Italy for a bit. And that kind of drove me into this focus on global education. So my master's is in international training and education. So I've spent time working in a number of different countries, looking at everything from child protection rights to just global education in terms of thinking about the world more broadly, often using technology as this really powerful tool to connect kids and teachers across the world. And I've the past few years now been working in independent schools, really looking at instructional coaching and EdTech and innovation and the very varied ways that can kind of take shape now in schools. And it feels like it's constantly changing, which is one of the things that I find really exciting about the work that I do.
Awesome. And right before we started this call, you were telling me a little bit about this program of Legacy Through Leadership. So tell me a little bit more about that. I know that's something that we talking about, but I don't know anything about it yet. So
yes. So it came out of this idea. We actually kind of wrote an EU4 grant to be able to support this program initially. It's about 4 years old now. And we wanted to tie in basically these values that we ask all of our girls to practice. So the mission of the school is empowering girls to learn, lead, and leave a legacy or live a legacy. And we thought that should really start with our faculty. So we thought, let's create this program where you're creating a legacy through your leadership. And you're that leadership expands not only to your work with your students, but also within our faculty community. So what happens is you can apply to be part of the program for the whole year. It's an entire school year. And you have one-on-one mentorship with someone on the innovation team. So about every other week, we'll meet, we'll look at your goals. We'll kind of focus on 6 core areas, things like self-exploration, your teaching practice, you as a learner, feedback, how are you getting and receiving feedback. So those kind of areas. We kind of run these workshops throughout the year. I think it's about 6 of them, a couple hours long in the evenings, where we dig into things like maker education, TPAC, cultures of thinking, to give them this shared language and foundation to talk about their kind of teaching practice and what they might want to be doing. And then they have also what we call a thinking partner, which is a peer who has been trained in instructional coaching. We pretty much use the Jim Knight impact cycle model. And that thinking partner focuses specifically with them to run through at least usually about 2 cycles in the school year, some goal that they want to work on in their practice. And so it's this kind of powerhouse combo, right, of mentorship, instructional coaching, and then professional development through workshops and books and other things, where throughout the year you're really supported in just growing as a professional, as an educator. And I think we found it to be really exciting, really, I think renewing, right, for people, whether it's their second year in the profession or they've been teaching for decades. It's a cohort model, so we only accept a small group of teachers who then will be together in the same room a number of times throughout the year, right? So we do these workshops. Again, we're trying to establish shared language, shared experiences, and then we'll definitely do a bunch of fun, little events too. We've taken everyone to like a woodworking class. We'll do little things just to kind of build that community and help people to remember, what does it feel like to be a learner? And take that perspective then back to the classroom. And so I think that's one of the things too for my team that helps us to really stay present about what is it like to be a student? How do we help teachers remember that? And how do we help teachers constantly be figuring out, what to do next? So as a team, we, stay fresh in remembering how hard it is to learn something new, to get out of those rhythms that you might have fallen into. And we kind of stay connected with these faculty then who have said, I want to work with you this year. And we have these mentoring connections where we hear constantly, what's coming up for you? What's challenging this year in particular? What, do you want to work on that might be impacting you, right? So obviously this year, the huge thing is this whole pandemic life and hybrid learning. But each year there's some usually different kind of themes that come out that we are able to then take and say, you know what, this is something we're hearing consistently. Let's weave this back into the professional development we're offering this year. Let's have our next pop-up PD, which is something we do like during lunches, be themed around this. And then by the end of the year, people in that program usually are starting to host our pop-up PDs instead of us. So they're part of the goal is that if they're in the program, they're sharing out their knowledge and they're stepping up and getting a chance to kind of take on that leadership role, and their colleagues are turning to them, which I think is also just something that's energizing for them, right? And so they will do short 5-minute talks on a PD day, or they'll lead these pop-ups. And so what has happened is over each year now, we have this growing cohort of people who have participated, who have this shared language, who have these experiences working with a thinking partner and doing coaching and having their class swiveled, recorded, and doing, like looking at feedback on that and making changes. And so it's a growing community of people who are really thinking about their practice in new ways that I think is really cool.
That is amazing. And I think something that when we talk about being coaches, and you have 3, which is amazing, like not every school is fortunate to have a team of 3, right? So even if it's just a single person, this is a really great and clear description of how you can build capacity in your staff when you are an individual or a very small team of coaches that you can't possibly hope to work with, let's say, 100 teachers or several hundred teachers. This is a way to kind of build capacity and expand that out. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. If this is a topic you want to dig deeper into and you're ready to explore in your own professional learning, please head over to edurolearning.com to see all of the great professional learning opportunities we have for you. You'll find registration dates for our next cohorts of COTAIL, The Coach, and Women Who Lead, and we only run those programs, each of those programs, once a year, so you want to make sure you know when registration opens. If you're interested in any of those programs, make sure you click on the I'm Interested link so that you can get updates and be the first to know when registration opens. Also at Eduro Learning, we've got self-paced courses if you need to earn clock hour credits for recertification, and we've got downloadable workbooks to help take you through all different aspects of professional learning for you as an individual or working with the team or at the whole school-wide level. If there's anything you are looking out for or any questions you have, please reach out to us on social media. We love hearing from you, and join our Facebook group, Coach Better. See you next time.